Welcome back to the channel. This is Ready Storm and you are watching fourth and final part of What If Naruto Became a Pradiator. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Naruto crept into the Hokage's office through her window, fully cloaked, and calculated how long it would take the old hag to notice him. He'd been doing it for a week now, and it was always amusing to see Tsunade's reaction to being scared out of her wits. Tsunade had yelled, punched, and thrown objects at Naruto for doing it, no matter how amusing he thought it was. And now Naruto had returned. "Naruto, if you're there, you better undo that cloaking thing you have now, or I'm going to hit you where the sun doesn't shine on your body," Tsunade warned, suspecting Naruto or Jiraiya lurking nearby. Naruto, of course, remained silent the entire time, witnessing Tsunade's reaction to her demand for silence, as well as her grumbling about disrespectful brats. Naruto could only smile at her through his mask as he moved behind her and placed a hand on her chair. And shook it violently. "Your detection abilities require improvement," Naruto said as the Hokage leapt out of her chair, over her desk, and into a fighting stance before she realized it was him. "Damn it, Naruto. Stop doing that!" exclaimed Tsunade, ready to smack the jerk if it weren't for the fact that he could disappear and reappear whenever he pleased. "Then be more aware," said Naruto as he saw her growl at him and responded with a chuckle. "I swear you're going to kill me," Tsunade said before opening a bottle of sake and drinking its contents. "Not if your aggressive drinking doesn't get you first," Naruto said as he waited for Tsunade to return to her seat. "Very funny. The reason I wanted you to come to my office was to give you a mission of great importance, and I think you know what mission that is," Tsunade said as she saw Naruto nod, and it was the mission Naruto truly desired. "Hunting down the remaining Akatsuki members," Naruto said, eager to take on all of them and make himself more infamous. "Yes. The councils wanted me to send you on some suicide mission to Kumo, then Iwa shortly after, but I told them that was out of the question, and that Akatsuki was a major threat that you had to deal with before things got out of hand with them," Tsunade said, as she argued with those idiots about how and where Naruto could use his abilities effectively. "What do they know, except to fill their own pockets with money and bleed life out of a village that despises the son of their greatest hero?" said Naruto as he saw Tsunade wince and took the mission scroll from her of all the listed Akatsuki members that Jiraiya obtained from his spy network. "Ouch. And I thought my heart was cold towards this place," Tsunade thought as she saw him walk towards the window, cloak himself, and jump out. That was never going to become second nature to her. Sometime later Namikaze states, "So Tsunade is sending you on a long-term hunt for the other Akatsuki members," Hinata said as she saw him nod, a look of disappointment on her face. During his time in Konoha, the rookies and guys team, except Sakura, spent time with Naruto and his former senseis, except Kakashi, and what he had been up to since his transformation. Kurenai glared at him at first, accusing him of kidnapping Hinata and scaring the hell out of her in the mistaken belief that she had lost her previous student. When asked how he obtained his transformation, Naruto explained the events that occurred shortly after his exile from the Leaf, as well as the location he discovered that enhanced him beyond normal human capabilities. They were put off by Naruto's method of displaying his kills to the world, as well as taking skulls for trophies, but the dual-haired man simply stated that this was the way of the hunt, and left it at that. When asked about his eyes, Naruto explained that they were like a bloodline limit, allowing him to see the body heat of his prey, and that they were ideal for interrogations, allowing him to see through people if they lied. Kiba didn't believe him because he thought such a skill was impossible, and Naruto challenged the Inuzuka to prove him wrong. Kiba, of course, had decided to accept the challenge by declaring that he was no longer a virgin among his peers, which earned him a fist to the head from Ino, as well as Tenten and Naruto stating that the statement was false. For that one, everyone laughed at Kiba's expense. "I know it takes us away from each other after only recently returning, but I promise to return," and we'll make up for lost time again," Naruto said as he moved behind her and hugged Hinata, the young woman blushing from the contact. "I know. I just wish I could go with you," Hinata said, because this was a solo mission and the Hokage would not allow her to tag along. "Me too. When I get back, I intend to wash my hands clean of this place and take you with me to Spring Country to start over," Naruto said, as Hinata turned around and saw he was serious before tackling him with tears of joy. "Really? You mean it? Oh Naruto-kun, that sounds wonderful," exclaimed Hinata, who was overjoyed to learn that he was going to accept the princess's offer with her right beside him. "Glad you approve. As for the mission itself, I don't leave until tomorrow, and I think it's only right that we spend some quality time together before I leave, don't you agree, Hinata-chan?" said Naruto, as one of his hands snaked down to her rump, and he loved the squeak she made when he squeezed it lovingly. "You always knew how to get under my skin, Naruto-kun," Hinata said, her cheeks flushed from his groping hand and then the other molesting her chest. "That's because I know exactly which buttons to press, Hinata-chan," Naruto explained as he stripped off her clothes and she stripped off his before the two went at it like rabbits in heat. Country of Fire and Wind days later. "Damn it, this stinks. Why do we have to walk to Suna?" said Deidara, who would have preferred flying there on a clay bird and was even willing to let Sasori ride with him to the hidden village. "You know why. We need to avoid being discovered by the Nine Tails," Sasori explained, as they had been told by their spies that Tsunade had given the Namikaze permission to hunt down and eliminate the rest of the Akatsuki organization. "Oh, spare me. Itachi and Kisame just got careless. I could easily take the so-called masked hunter," Deidara said as he took some clay, made a few bombs, and boom. Death occurs instantly. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it, said a voice from above in the trees, and Namikaze Naruto descended on them with his combi stick. Deidara reached into his bag for some clay for his bombs, while Sasori summoned several of his living puppets to create additional numbers to overpower Naruto. The Namikaze threw his combi stick with incredible force at one of Sasori's puppets, pinning it to a tree before unleashing one of his shuriken blades into the air, intending to sever Deidara's head. He only managed to take one of the man's arms, but it was a start. "Shit. The bastard got my ring arm," Deidara exclaimed as he reached for it, but the weapon was returning, and he had to move out of the way to keep the rest of his body parts intact. Sasori, on the other hand, was currently jumping around to avoid the chakra-like attacks fired from the strange device on Naruto's shoulders, and had already had several close calls. His puppets had already paid the price for underestimating Naruto, and he now had to fight the demon vessel alone, with only an injured Deidara for company. The puppet master had no idea why Itachi and Kisame had fallen into the hands of the young hunter not long ago. How does it feel to be the hunted one in all of this? How does it feel to not be the big bad predator in this game of hunter and fox? Said Naruto, smirking behind his mask, as he caught the shuriken and then threw it at Sasori, the puppet master unable to move out of the way. Sasori's head was ripped clean off his body by the weapon, which then spun around and slashed vertically through his upper body. Damn you. I'll make you pay for this. I plan to save it for Itachi one day, but since he's dead, you'll have to take his place, and enjoy the art that is my work before you die. Said Deidara, as he was about to unleash his grandest of explosive art that was his prized creation upon Naruto with the one hand he still had, but before the Akatsuki member could, Naruto had grabbed his combi stick, and I, too, am an artist when it comes to the ways of death, and right now. You are one of my many masterpieces. Said Naruto as he thrust the combi stick at Deidara into the man's stomach, which struck flesh before the Namikaze grabbed the girl-looking blonde man's face, knocking the Akatsuki member off balance onto the ground. This can't be. Deidara thought as he tried to make one last bomb with his free hand, almost succeeding had Naruto not seen it before snapping the man's neck with a horrible snap. "Your rings will make excellent trophies in place of your disfigured skull," Naruto said as he removed the ring from Deidara's puppet hand and then Sasori's puppet hand. Without saying anything else, the Namikaze cloaked himself and then threw an explosive tag onto the ground that was enhanced by his chakra before fleeing the area that would soon be destroyed by a massive explosion. After 2 weeks, the border of Fire and Lightning Country. "I wish you wouldn't pray to that fucking violent god of yours before a fight," Hidan, Kakuzu said, because they were close to the border and the missing nin from Hidden in Hot Water wanted to kill people in honor of his damn god. "Shut up, Kakuzu. I don't like it when you interrupt my praying time to Jashin-sama," Hidan said as he continued to pray, hoping Jashin would forgive him for the interruption. "Then you're going to love me," Naruto said as he appeared to Kakuzu's side and drew his wrist blades out before shoving them into the man's chest. "Shit. That hurt, you bastard, and now I'm pissed," exclaimed Kakuzu, feeling his lungs and 2 of his hearts punctured by Naruto's wrist blades. "Good," Naruto said, tossing the missing nin aside and turning his attention to the man's companion. "You can't kill me because I'm protected by Jashin himself. Even if you decapitated me, I'd still live and make you suffer," exclaimed Hidan as he took out his scythe and prepared to slaughter his foe. "If the history of this world has taught us anything, it's that if you put your mind to it, you can get anybody you want. And right now I have an idea on how to kill your pale Jashin-loving ass," Naruto said, as he did have an idea, but carrying it out would be a pain, and he only had 1 shot at it. "Bring it on, you freak," exclaimed Hidan, charging forward, and Naruto drew his sword to his left hand while keeping his wrist blades out on his right. The 2 fought ferociously as Kakuzu struggled to get up from the ground where Naruto had thrown him. His other 3 hearts could pick up the slack, but his lungs were still bothering him and needed to be fixed as well. He could have stayed to assist Hidan in fighting the Kyuubi vessel, but Kakuzu didn't want to crowd them in his current condition, and Hidan would no doubt complain later about his interference in offering up a great sacrifice to Jashin. Let them deal with it. Besides, no matter how hard people tried, Hidan couldn't die because of his damn religion, and I doubt the Kyuubi brat could pull it off, Kakuzu reasoned as he decided to retreat for the time being and return when Hidan had won. That is, if Hidan won. "You're pretty good. It's almost a shame I can't kill you in the name of Jashin-sama, as you'd make a wonderful sacrifice," Hidan said as he attempted to cut the demon vessel in order to obtain his blood and perform the necessary ritual to harm Naruto. "What's really a shame is that I can't take your skull as a trophy, and I'll have to settle for a ring once more," Naruto said as he caught the pole of the scythe in between the gap of his wrist blades, the point of the blade touching his armor while sword hand was arched at an angle that took off Hidan's hands just past the wrist. "Ow. Look at what you've done, you fucking piece of shit," yelled Hidan as he staggered back against a tree, and would have continued ranting had a net pinned him to the tree behind him and tightened around his body. "Hate the prey, not the hunter," Naruto said as he took the ring and scythe from Hidan's hands before noticing Hidan was in pieces on the ground. Despite this, he was still alive. Seeing the pile of flesh had consolidated, Naruto threw Hidan's hands onto it before pulling out a canister of blue solvent similar to the one he used on Orochimaru to kill the bastard and pouring the contents onto the pile. Hidan was ranting with his still intact mouth before crying out in pain, which was followed by silence as the pile was reduced to nothing. It was now time to find Kakuzu. Along with Kakuzu, the greedy missing nin saw the town ahead and smirked at the prospect of acquiring new organs that would allow him to live longer than his current life expectancy. What bothered the former waterfall nin was the fact that by the time he arrived here, he fully expected his religious partner to have defeated the Kyuubi vessel and be back here with him to assist with more sacrifices that damn Jashin. Kakuzu's thoughts are interrupted when he feels one of his 3 remaining hearts leave his body via Naruto's combi stick, and the weapon and heart are now linked to a nearby tree. Kakuzu snarls as he turns around to see Naruto standing there with the scythe on his back, and the missing nin can almost see the smile behind that damn mask, the area where the eyes were flashing red for a brief moment. "I never thought of you as a coward," Naruto said as he saw the missing nin shrug and look at his pierced heart in the tree before returning his gaze. "I'm not. It's just that I'd like to live a little longer, and you've already killed the majority of the organs in me. Would it be so wrong to get a few replacements before we have it again?" asked Kakuzu, who was met with wrist blades and shuriken. "Yes. Yes, it does. A true shinobi always finishes what he or she starts, and my mission with you will not be finished until I get my trophy," said Naruto as he moved into a taijutsu stance after seeing Kakuzu nod. "If that were true for someone like me, I would have kept trying to assassinate Shodem of the Leaf after my first failure to assassinate him, and eventually kill him," Kakuzu said as he moved at breakneck speed towards Naruto, forcing the masked hunter to leap back before overthrowing the shuriken. Kakuzu moved in closer again, believing that his taijutsu and years of shinobi experience would give him an advantage. He hadn't counted on Naruto not being affected by his blows like others would have been, and the demon vessel actually wanted the missing nin to get close. By getting close, Naruto gave his wrist blades another chance to take out another heart, and Kakuzu was only able to keep at least one heart right now thanks to his instincts. The missing nin leapt out of the way of the wrist blade that slashed a deep gash across his chest and turned around to see the spinning shuriken approaching him. Kakuzu tried to get out of the way, but the weapon sliced through his arm at the elbow and back to its owner before Naruto shrunk it into a tiny circular disc to pocket it. Kakuzu realized he was in big trouble now, as he was more crippled than at any other point in his long shinobi career, and noticed one of Naruto's chakra shooting weapons on his shoulder moving with a strange red light from the mask aiming at him before a loud thunderous booming sound was heard, with the crimson energy soon following. It ripped through the missing nin's remaining hearts, and the man finally tasted death after evading it for so long. Naruto walked over to the now dead shinobi and removed the ring from Kakuzu's finger before pulling solvent on the body once more to ensure no one could bring him back to life. It was probably for the best, given this particular pair of Akatsuki members and their method of remaining immortal, as the other members undoubtedly claimed. There were only a few people left for Naruto to kill. Then everything would be fine. Secret meeting room in Konoha. "We have to do something. The demon is out of control, and we have no way of reining him in now that Danzo is gone," Homura said, as he and Koharu and the other members of the civilian council who weren't arrested left the meeting. "What about the man's remaining root shinobi? Surely they will follow us?" said Haruno Toshi, after telling his daughter to stay away from the demon regardless of his ancestry as the Namikaze heir, and to focus on being better than her so-called friends. "They will, but they are hesitant to make moves against the Hokage because she has so much support, and the Fire Daimyo has taken much of the power we have taken from that title over the years," said Koharu, as she knew more about running the village than that drunken Senju woman ever could, and made her displeasure known to the Hokage when she could despite all the events that had occurred. "But given the demon's current power, that may not be possible. He's out on that mission to kill Akatsuki members, and even with us secretly alerting them to that fact, we have yet to hear that the monster has been dealt with," said another member of the civilian council. "True, but you forget that Akatsuki is filled with S-rank missing nin, and if anyone can kill the Kyuubi vessel, it is them," Homura said, knowing that the only ones in the elemental countries capable of killing the demon were them, and even if they didn't, the creature's weakening would allow them to finish it off themselves. "As for the root shinobi loyal to Danzo, we have positioned them all over Konoha to strike out against the demon when he returns, if at all, from his mission, and have them strike him down before Tsunade can be alerted to stop it," Koharu said as she saw them all nod and leave the meeting room. They were all completely unaware of the fly on the corner of the wall flying right out of the room above their heads, as it was not your typical housefly that flew around annoying people and then died a few days later. No, this was a special Aburame spying fly they developed to be the proverbial fly on the wall, when spying on others at the Hokage's request when the Fire Shadow had a good reason for it, and this was one of the few times such an insect was used inside Konoha's walls. The Hokage would not like what this fly told the Aburame, who was going to tell her what the fly heard in that room. After 5 days in Aim Village. "We have a problem, Pain-sama," said White Half Zetsu, as he appeared in front of Pain and Konan, both sides of his face concerned. "Damn right we do. All the other members are dead," exclaimed the dark half of Zetsu, deciding to cut to the chase and say it before Pain asked in his place. "What? How?" Konan asked, surprised that all the other members had been killed off so easily and in such a short period of time. "It was the Kyuubi vessel. He hunted them all down and took their rings as trophies, along with Hidan's scythe," said Zetsu's dark half, who was angry and a little afraid of the Kyuubi vessel. "We searched the areas where they fought and discovered their bodies had been disintegrated," said Zetsu's white half, sounding like a terrified child being pursued by the boogeyman. Given all of the blades on the Kyuubi vessel's person, Freddy Krueger was probably more appropriate. Disintegrated? Strange. "Konan, we'll deal with this one ourselves, and the focus will be on finding the Kyuubi vessel's hideout to get the rings," Pain said, seeing his second-in-command nod, but the woman beside him seemed hesitant. Konan, on the other hand, would never say it in front of Pain. "How do we find the Kyuubi vessel?" Konan wondered, knowing that the Namikaze would be difficult to find and even more difficult to subdue. "We don't have to, Konan. He's already here in Aim," Pain said, as he noticed Konan's eyes widen and a worried expression on her face. "Do you think he knows about your true Pain body?" Konan wondered, because the man before her was Pain but not Pain. "Yes, we have to hurry if we are to exclaimed Pain, his body staggers and he falls to his knees in pain. "Pain-sama!" exclaimed both sides of Zetsu in surprise. "He's here. He discovered my true form." "Stop him, Konan!" exclaimed Pain, as his body spasmed even more and then slumped down dead. "No!" yelled Konan, knowing that with the real Pain dead, the one in front of her would fall like a pet with its strings cut and die like the others. "You loved him, didn't you?" said Naruto, as he appeared before the two members after sending a shadow clone to kill the real Pain after finding the man by finding the strongest source of chakra and then following the heat signature that went with it until the real Pain was found a safe distance from here. In terms of puppetry, this man was like a more alternate, but more advanced version of Sasori, and made the Suna puppet master look like a weak child apprentice. I'll kill you!" yelled Konan as tears welled up in her eyes and the paper that surrounded her reformed into a sharp-looking blade before unleashing it on Naruto. Only to find out she'd only destroyed a shadow clone. The real man behind all of this, the one you loved without question, was dying, Naruto said as he appeared to her right, seeing the anger in her eyes, while Zetsu was now debating whether to help the woman or flee. "It doesn't mean you had to kill him," exclaimed Konan as he fashioned a paper sword and prepared to run him through with it if he hadn't raised his hand to tell her to stop. "Perhaps not, but he was my enemy, and I couldn't let him kill me for the sake of his own ambitions that put those I care about in danger," Naruto said, not wanting to kill this woman, who he sensed was a gentle soul despite her joining the Akatsuki. "And that gives you the right? You are no better than that damn bastard Hanzo or his ally Danzo when they conspired to kill those close to me for the sake of their ambitions," charged Konan, her sharp paper sword piercing through his armor and flesh to end his life. Naruto stepped aside easily and grabbed her wrists firmly before pulling Konan close to his masked face. "First and foremost, don't compare me to that jerk Danzo, and second, I personally killed the old prick, so be grateful I killed our mutual enemy in that regard. Another thing you need to understand is that by extracting demons from their vessels like me, you kill us for your own ambitions, and I am doing what I must to protect my kin from your organization. Stay away from us!" exclaimed Zetsu's white half. What he said, Zetsu's dark half agreed. Then give me your ring, and I won't, Naruto said, knowing that the rings were crucial to Akatsuki's plans, and that this would further harm the organization's plans. That, and Zetsu wasn't deserving of being hunted. Give him the ring, exclaimed the dark half of Zetsu to the white half. Hold on, the ring's stuck, exclaimed the white Zetsu as he finally removed it and threw it at Naruto before fleeing in a flash. Now yours, Naruto said, turning to face the still downed woman who was sobbing at his feet. Kill me, please, Konan said as she slowly removed the ring and placed it by his right foot. Why? Said Naruto, his head cocked to the right, as he noticed Konan's tear-stained eyes looking up at him. Because you took away someone I love, and it was because of him that I survived for so long after Jiraiya of the Sannin taught us the basics of survival when we were kids, Konan explained, feeling lost without the man she swore to follow and support his dream no matter what. Even if what they did felt a little off. No, Naruto said before picking up the ring and walking away. Why? Why are you sparing me? Konan asked. Because you are not like the others in this organization. You did not join for the same reasons they did. I see light in your heart where they had darkness in theirs. That alone makes you worthy of living. The people in this village will follow you, even after they learn pain is gone, and that is your role in life from now on. To protect them. They are your precious people now. Live for them. If for nothing else, Naruto said, leaving Konan on the ground to think. Wait. There's one more you have to kill before the organization is gone, Konan said, sensing that he needed to know about his final, and most powerful, adversary. Who is that? Naruto asked, pausing and turning slightly to face her. He's the true leader of Akatsuki. The one who came to us all and offered us a chance to fulfill our dreams. His name is Uchiha Madara, Konan said, as she felt Naruto's killer intent skyrocket and clench his fists so tightly that only his healing factor kept him from drawing blood. Kill him. Kill him, my vessel. It was because of him that I attacked the leaf and made your life miserable in the first place. Roared the Kyuubi, who despised Madara more than anything else this world had to offer. Kyuubi will never know why Kami hired Kevin Costner after that movie, and in a way, Kyuubi didn't want to know. Thank you for this information. Perhaps in the distant future, we will meet again under better circumstances, and even call each other friends, Naruto said, leaving the woman to slowly rise to her feet and search for Madara. The skull of the man would become the ultimate trophy. As he hunted the last and most powerful member of the Akatsuki organization, Naruto leapt from tree to tree in the stealthy silent manner only he could do. Of course, it wasn't easy because Madara remained elusive and hidden in the shadows long after his encounter with the Shodan over a century ago. Naruto's eyes, with the help of his mask, could find Madara by following the unusual trail of chakra the man left behind, which, as Kyuubi said, was a much more sinister thing than the fox's own, and easy to find once it was locked on due to the heat the chakra created. It left a trail everywhere, no matter how sinister or soothing it was, and could be tracked when seen. He's almost there. I can sense it. Kyuubi growled angrily as he realized the Uchiha was close by and was looking forward to seeing the jerk die a painful death. Calm down, Kyuubi. If you get angry, you'll energize me, and he'll notice before suppressing your chakra. That is not an option. I know you're upset, but you're also a living being, and all living beings have free will. You can fight the rage if you try, Naruto thought, knowing Kyuubi could withstand Madara's power and the desire to rip the man's head off. That was only for the Namikaze. I know. So many negative memories of him make my blood boil. If I still had a body to go along with the boiling blood, that is, Kyuubi spoke as he focused on resisting his growing rage and listening to his vessel. Well, he'll be just that soon. A memory, Naruto thought as the internal section of his mask's visor appeared on the screen, alerting him to the presence of someone nearby and matching the trail the Namikaze had been following. He was present. We've come to it. At long last. Kyuubi grinned within Naruto, knowing that today was the day Madara died. Uchiha Madara! Exclaimed Naruto, hanging from one of the trees while fully cloaked, as he saw the other masked man stand up from the tree he was on and remove his own orange spiral mask to reveal his face. So you've finally arrived. Why not put yourself out there? Madara said this as he saw the Namikaze reveal himself up on a higher tree and didn't see the point in going into his Tobi persona. Satisfied? Asked Naruto before moving to another tree, leaving Madara alone. Hardly. You may have discovered a few interesting facts, but the fact remains that my pet fox inside your body cannot intervene and save you, Namikaze. As he heard Naruto chuckle, Madara removed his mask before tossing it to the ground. How long have you known I was his son? Said Naruto, as he saw Madara quickly transform his clothing into the old clothing he fought the Shoden in at the Valley of the End ages ago. Because of the ceiling. It wasn't difficult to see that you were his child. Of course, I imagine your village was aware but refused to accept it, and if they did, they didn't care what the man desired for you. Madara knew about the village's abuse of the boy, as well as the Namikaze's retaliation against his attackers. I see. And yet, despite knowing that killing me would free Kyuubi from my body, you made no move. However, Kyuubi was free of your influence, and I'm sure your eyes didn't have the strength to repeat your actions in order to annoy the fox. I'm guessing the statue was a backup plan in case the fox was sealed away like the other 9 and your revenge on the leaf failed. Am I correct? Naruto remarked as he noticed Madara's arrogant smirk, and the way the man did it reminded him a lot of when Sasuke did the same thing. Yes, that is correct. I am significantly weakened whenever I put Kyuubi in such a state, and even more so after my battle with the Shoden. After that battle, I was a shadow of my former self, and it took me a long time to recover while everyone in the leaf assumed I died. After I recovered, I vowed vengeance on the leaf, but I needed to plan ahead of time, which I did over the years. Using my Sharingan to persuade others to do what I desired, I carried out a long-planned strategy to weaken all the shinobi villages to the point where they could no longer oppose me when my dream came true. I became the 3rd Mizukage to determine which of the various clans posed a threat to me, and I used my Sharingan on the 4th Mizukage, a demon vessel named Yagura, to weaken them with the bloodline civil war. I tempted Orochimaru in his lab by offering him the idea of immortality via the Sharingan in order to fulfill his ambition of knowing all the jutsus in the world. I assisted Uchiha Itachi in killing the Uchiha clan because I knew he needed help to put down the planned coup and significantly weaken Konoha. Madara grinned at Naruto, who narrowed his eyes at the world's oldest Uchiha and let out a growl that echoed throughout the area. You have a lot to answer for, Uchiha Madara, Naruto said, pulling out his wrist blades and one of his equally lethal swords. I'm sure I would in the eyes of many if the truth about my secret actions throughout the elemental countries became known. However, I am immortal, which means that I cannot be killed. That I will not die, Madara stated confidently before drawing his sword and preparing for battle. Strange words from someone afraid of death, Naruto chuckled as he noticed Madara frown. Hardly. I'm not afraid of anything, Madara said as he activated his eyes and saw Naruto's grin widen. What arrogance. It's no surprise the Shoden was able to defeat you. As he noticed Madara's scowl, Naruto was reminded of Sasuke. When I'm done destroying your body, Namikaze, I'm going to use my Sharingan to influence your mind, just like Kyuubi, and then force you to destroy everyone in the elemental countries you adore. Begin with that lover of yours. What was her last name again? It's Hyuga. Was it Hinata? Madara, who had the multicolored-haired boy's full attention after hearing Naruto let out an angry demonic roar that seemed to shake the ground around them, said. Your head will be my most prized trophy in my collection when this is over, Naruto said as the two charged each other, kicking off the proverbial clash of titans. Konoha right now. Senju Tsunade was furious. No, she was furious, and for good reason. Aburame Shino had arrived at her office, telling the female Hokage everything his fly had heard, and how people within Konoha's walls were conspiring against Tsunade's only godson. The Slug Princess knew that this mission against the Akatsuki would weaken Naruto to the point where Root Shinobi would have no problem killing the Namikaze if they all ganged up on him at the same time. It's about time these assholes realized who they're messing with outside of Naruto himself. Tsunade thought as she summoned Yugo and her Anbu team to her office. You called Hokage-sama? Yugo, who was wearing her cat Anbu mask, asked. Get every Anbu who is loyal to me in here right now. Jiraiya is the same way. Tell him that if he doesn't want to be without his dick for the rest of his life, he'll get his ass in this office within seconds of this order. I have an important mission that requires only their complete dedication, loyalty, and secrecy to protect the leaf, Tsunade said as she saw Yugo nod and dashed out the door to gather all the necessary forces for the mission. What's going on, Tsunade-sama? Shizune said as she entered the room and saw her medical teacher becoming angrier by the second. Those cretins on the councils have planned an assassination of Naruto using the last of Danzo's root forces the moment he returns to Konoha. They think they can get away with it, but I'm not going to let my godson fall into their trap and show them what it's like to cross my family. Tsunade had long wanted to show Naruto that she cared for him, and this was going to be the proof she needed to show the Namikaze by killing every single arrogant bigot attempting to raise arms against the young man. What about Guy's team and the rookies? Surely they can assist? Shizune said as she saw Tsunade nod at the idea, knowing how much they wanted to prove to Naruto that they didn't despise him. Shizune, that's a great idea. Bring them all here as well. Tsunade said this because she knew they could be trusted with this assignment and deal with this annoyance. Within an hour, everyone Tsunade could rely on was in the room, and she told them what the councils had in store for the remaining root shinobi under their command. It was upsetting to the rookies because they had missed Naruto terribly during his exile and had always despised the people in power for causing it, and now they were attempting to screw Naruto over even more. Unacceptable. When do we start? Kiba asked, having seen Hinata as a sister and knowing how much Naruto meant to her. It was time for Inuzuka to be a good big brother and protect the person his little sister cared about. Just now. Jiraiya had the Toads track down every root shinobi in the village, as well as anyone involved in the council's assassination attempt. Bring them down. Whether dead or alive. Go. Tsunade smirked as she saw them take off to complete the mission, relishing the prospect of teaching those fools a lesson. She planned to demonstrate that Naruto wasn't the only one who could hunt. Along with Naruto and Madara. Naruto's left arm was splattered with blood as Kyuubi's chakra healed the wound beneath his armor, while Madara was injured along his right leg from a wicked gash near the kneecap. Madara had long since decided against using his teleporting technique for this fight after it had failed the first time it was attempted, costing the Uchiha the wound on his leg. Naruto discovered why the Shodan had such a difficult time with Madara in the first place, as the Uchiha was the strongest of his clan and was constantly testing the predator of a Namikaze. Madara used his Sharingan to deflect Naruto's punches, but the younger man's eyes revealed which limbs Madara would use before they were used due to the heat in each limb flaring each time an arm and/or leg attempted to land a blow. In a nutshell, it was a deadlock. Naruto, you're quite good. I'm actually glad I didn't kill you after only a minute of life, Madara said before being pushed back by Naruto's far superior physical strength. You did what? Said Naruto, seeing the Uchiha grinning at him and preparing his wrist blades to gut Madara right now. Your mother was the fox's previous vessel. After a long search, I discovered that my pet had been sealed inside of her. I threatened to kill you the moment you were born, and her seal had weakened significantly due to the pregnancy. The fox's power was leaking out of her body at a dangerously lethal rate by this point, and she would have died soon after if Kushina hadn't done the unexpected. Madara charged at Naruto, who blocked the sword with his wrist blades and looked the Uchiha in the Sharingan eyes. She let Kyuubi loose to kill you for taking me. She had no idea that the Sharingan's eyes could control the fox in the same way that the Senju clan could. Naruto spoke up as he noticed Madara smiling cruelly at him, which enraged the Namikaze. Correct. Your father anticipated what she would do, which motivated him to find me and bring you back in order to. Well, you know the rest. Madara chuckled, and was met with a from Naruto, who was now attacking in a savage manner with such speed that even the Uchiha's Sharingan was having difficulty seeing to counter. Madara attempted to use his Sharingan powers against Naruto, but the younger was not as easily swayed as he had assumed, and the Uchiha suspected the Shinigami seal on the Namikaze had something to do with it. It wasn't long before Naruto forced Madara to back himself up against a tree, which surprised the man, and used his teleportation technique to prevent the Namikaze from losing his head via Naruto's sword in the Namikaze's left hand. The tree behind the Uchiha, on the other hand, was not so fortunate. Forget about having your head on my wall as a trophy. For me, smashing your body into liquid goo is more than enough. Naruto picked up his mask before putting it on, roared again, and then threw his shuriken at Madara, who dodged it by jumping to his left in an acrobatic fashion. The Uchiha then had to quickly jump around to avoid being hit by the red chakra firing cannons on Naruto's shoulders, which wasn't easy either. Madara also knew that Naruto was using this to force his hand into close quarters so that the younger man could slice him to pieces with those wrist blades. He's fine. It's clear that my pet has had little influence on him in terms of chakra healing the boy's wounds when injured, and even if I did suppress Kyuubi's power long enough to stop it, the Namikaze has more than enough tolerance to handle severe injuries, Madara thought as he heard a sound behind him and saw the spinning alien shuriken returning, and leapt out of the way of its ruthless spinning blades. And it provided Naruto with the opportunity he required. Naruto recalculated the targeting system to fire seconds before the Uchiha landed on the area he was jumping to, and aimed low to sever Madara's legs at the knees. Madara himself didn't expect this, which was surprising given his lack of knowledge about the weapons Naruto had at his disposal, and in the shinobi world. The unknown can get you killed. The last true Uchiha screamed in agony as the ground, or rather his legs, gave out from under him due to his legs no longer being attached to the rest of his body from the kneecap down. Before Madara could react to his known situation, his opponent had stowed his shuriken and summoned the Kombi stick in all its menacing glory. Naruto threw the weapon, striking Madara in the right arm just below the man's elbow and landing his massive steel-plated combat boot on the Uchiha's chest. Uchiha Madara, tell me. Do you fear death? Naruto drew his sword again, this time pointing the tip at Uchiha's neck. No. I don't. Just like your father, Madara said as he noticed eyes. Before Naruto drove his blade right into Uchiha's throat and decapitated him in 2 slices of his weapon, the mask flashed red. You have nothing in common with him. At the very least, he died with honor. Naruto said this as he picked up Uchiha Madara's head and let out a mighty demonic roar that echoed into the sky for all to hear. The masked hunter now had his trophy, and it would be considered the greatest of all the trophies he had obtained while hunting Akatsuki. A week later, Konoha -1. Soon after Uchiha Madara's head was taken, Naruto returned to his base of operations and began the cleaning procedure of his new trophy before mounting it on the wall that was specifically designed to hold the various Akatsuki he hunted. He didn't have Konans, Zetsus, Sasoris, Kakuzus, Hidans, or Orochimaru's skulls on the wall for various reasons, despite having some worthy substitutes, including all of their rings and, in some cases, handcrafted items in their possession. Now Naruto was back in Konoha to collect his payment, as he had all 9 rings in his possession in a report memorized for the Hokage to hear. Tsunade would be wary of aim in the future because of his decision not to kill Konan, but Naruto would explain that she was no longer a threat, and that the man behind it was now dead. Naruto didn't mind if his pay was reduced because it wasn't about the money, and one couldn't put a price on one's honor if they truly believed it was priceless. As he walked through the village, Naruto noticed a noticeable decrease in the population and wondered why. Was there going to be an attack? Surely, the idiots of this village would not attempt to kill him now, after demonstrating that he was no longer an easy target for them to hurt, let alone kill. Sensing nothing amiss, the former Leaf Shinobi walked through the streets of Konoha, people giving him plenty of space as he made his way to the Hokage Tower, and it appeared that almost everyone was terrified of him now. When he got closer to the mountain, Naruto realized why and smiled behind his mask at the cause of his fear. The bodies of the two councils were hung by ropes now tied to poles on top of the Hokage monument, their stomachs gutted and showing signs of painful deaths. "I love what you've done with the place," Naruto said as he entered the Hokage's office and placed all of Akatsuki's rings in front of Tsunade. "You can thank your friends and shinobi who wanted to prove they're not like them," Tsunade said as she saw Naruto, before looking out the window for a moment. Sakura's body stood out among the others. So she chose the losing side? Naruto noticed the Hokage grimacing and nodding her head. "Oh, she made the right decision. I also said a few things about you." Her and the rest of her bastard family sided with the councils, who were planning to kill you the moment you returned, using the last root shinobi that remained. When I found out about it, I decided to liquidate them, if you will, and count it as an acceptable loss for the village, because most of them shouldn't be alive with the laws they've broken in the first place. Of course, the ones we apprehended all screamed about how they were doing the village a favor and that you should be killed. When it comes to you, it's all the same old nonsense. Tsunade said this as she heard Naruto chuckle and realized she had regained some of his favor with this bloody act. "And now all the powers of the Hokage are yours once more," Naruto said, seeing the woman nod in the sadness in her eyes, though there was also hope in them. "Do you think you'll reconsider staying and taking my place now that it's all powerful again?" Tsunade asked, slumping her head in defeat as she saw Naruto shake his head no. "The title of Hokage may be powerful now, but you must reinstate the two governing positions and rearrange them so that they are not powerful enough to overthrow your position. Besides, I can no longer support Konoha, even if you did take care of the bigots and terrorized those who would support them. This is where my relationship with the leaf ends," Naruto said as he scooped up all the rings and turned to leave, ignoring Tsunade's pained expression. "Would you at the very least come back to see us? On rare occasions?" Tsunade said as she saw him pause for a moment, then return with that damn unreadable mask covering his face. "Maybe I'll come back here when my mind catches up with the rest of my body. I'm sure Hinata-chan won't mind returning here to see her cousin and younger sister once things have calmed down." Naruto left before the Hokage could question him about Hinata's departure and why the Hyuga heiress was leaving the leaf. Sometime later, Namikaze Estates. Hyuga Hinata was all set to go. Naruto was set in his ways after a shadow clone arrived and told her he was returning to set things in motion for the move. Hinata, for one, was overjoyed to be with Naruto and excited that they would soon be in Spring Country, where Princess Koyuki would greet them as honored guests. "Ready to go?" said Naruto as he approached Hinata, who hugged the blonde before kissing his mask. "Since the day you first left to hunt down the Akatsuki," Hinata said as she saw Naruto reactivate the security seals on the Namikaze Estates, and the two quickly headed to the Leaf's gates to head to Wave Country. It was their path to fulfillment. "So he's finally leaving, isn't he? No farewells to us? No guarantees that he'll want to return and help us out one day?" Jiraiya stood by Tsunade's side, looking out her office window, knowing the two former Leaf Shinobi were on their way. No. That's not his personality. Not any longer. Naruto is taking the path he desires. When you think about it, it's not surprising. For the majority of his life, he's walked a path we kept forcing him to walk and never considered that the path was wrong because it was the same path we walked. Tsunade looked at her desk and saw Hinata's headband and a note explaining why she was following Naruto. Such inexperienced love. Tsunade must have missed it. Yeah. Minato was in the same boat. It took a few kicks to the balls for me to realize that what I was doing in his training was incorrect. That he would see a different path that was ideal for him, and that I was only hurting Minato by attempting to redirect the path to where I walked. Jiraiya said this as he realized how much Naruto was like Minato in that regard, and once again screwed up like he did with the Yondaime. Hinata's note said they were going to Spring Country and Naruto would become the cage of its shinobi village, Tsunade said, seeing Jiraiya smirk, and then the man let out a small laugh. I have no doubts. After killing so many S-class missing nin, I doubt Naruto would accept anything less than a cage-level position, and it was his dream after all. Jiraiya knew Naruto being the cage of a shinobi village would be interesting in the coming years. That's correct, but I always wanted him to take the position of Hokage rather than the title of cage from another village, Tsunade sighed. That was never going to happen as long as the councils and all the bigots in the village fueled Tsunade's power. Even if they were gone, the majority of the populace would never truly be loyal to Naruto, preferring to be overthrown by an outside enemy rather than live under his rule. Jiraiya said as he saw Tsunade become enraged with tears in her eyes and knew she wanted to hit something. Oh, fools. Every single one of them. Still, there are signs of hope among the younger generation, and it is for this that I must fight now, until my successor can take my place. Tsunade stated that she knew of only one other person qualified for this position besides Naruto, and the boy was still a genin. And I'll pitch in as well. According to what I've heard, Konohamaru and his friends have a lot of raw potential and look up to Naruto. They share his desire to be strong, and I believe they would benefit greatly from training with yours truly. Jiraiya knew Ebisu was doing well so far, but the kids could go far, and the Sannin wanted them to reach their full potential. Simply do not turn them into super perverts. After I remove your manhood, Jiraiya or peeping in hot springs will be a distant memory. Tsunade knew he wouldn't try anything like that after seeing the man wave his hands defensively. Tsunadeheim, I wouldn't dream of it. Though after I help the two boys become chunin, I'll have to take them to a fancy brothel. Jiraiya grinned his usual grin. Bam. Jiraiya was sent all the way down to the bottom of the Hokage Tower on the Hokage's Fist Express, missing the woman's yell of pervert. Aimed down at him. Excellent times. Epilogue. 5 years later. Naruto sat in his office in Yukigakure, finishing up the last of his paperwork for the evening as the Shodem Isukage, before heading home to his lovely wife Namikaze Hyuga Hinata. Along the way, the people of the village bowed humbly in his presence, giving him looks of respect that he would never get in the Leaf, and I saw children with pride in their eyes because they lived in this village with him ruling it. They knew what Naruto was capable of, but they didn't care because the man was a hero to them for saving their princess, now Spring Daimyo Koyuki, from certain harm years before. He had brought alliances from different villages and even countries to their side, bringing them great prosperity. It didn't, however, mean that their shinobi village would become fat, bored, and arrogant as the Leaf had as a result of their victories. As Isukage, Naruto kept his shinobi in top shape, ensuring they had yearly psyche evaluations and did intense mandatory training equivalent to their rank for several hours a day. The genin did not do D-ranked missions after graduation, as the Leaf did, but rather while still in training at the academy, where they learned the fundamentals of teamwork. The teachers made certain that their lectures, their method of teaching, were not boring, but rather informative, that examples were shown, and that the students understood that being a shinobi is not the glamorous tale of intense action that they may have suspected it was. Hinata-chan. I've arrived. Naruto entered his spacious home and was greeted by the sight of his wife and their 2.5-year-old son Azrael. Naruto-kun, welcome back. Azrael misses you almost as much as I do, Hinata said as she kissed him after he removed his helmet and saw Naruto look at his son, whom they had helped create. How are your former students doing now? I've heard they've been doing well, and I have paperwork on my desk indicating their desire to be Junin. Naruto inquired as to what his wife thought of her former genin team, which she had trained just prior to becoming pregnant with their son, and seeing them become exceptional chunin. They've come by. I wish them luck with our son and would appreciate it if they could spar with me on occasion to see how they stack up against me. Hinata blushed slightly at Naruto's close proximity to her face and the way he sniffed her hair. Have I told you how sexy you are and how amazing you smell? Said Naruto, placing his hand on her hip and giving her a lustful look. Many times, my love. However, if you do what I believe you will do, I must warn you that it is possible that I will become pregnant again, and that I will be hormonal. Unstable, as I was before, Hinata had been angry, sad, and hungry during her pregnancy with their child, she explained. Don't even get her started on the work. But you're so sexy when you're like that, Naruto said, moving his hand from her hip to cup the woman's ass and squeeze it, making Hinata moan with lust. Perhaps we could spend some quality time together, Hinata suggested, noting that she could easily put Azrael to bed and then they could spend time in their bed. Some? Why not spend the rest of the day and night doing so? I keep a shadow clone on hand to keep an eye on the baby so that we can spend time together that will result in another baby. Naruto knew exactly how to turn this lovely woman in front of him on, and this was one of them. Deal. Exclaimed Hinata, who couldn't take it any longer and kissed him hungrily while clutching what she could of his fishnet-clad body. No one dared to go near the Namikaze house for the rest of the day and into the night, and when the Hyuga woman became pregnant for the second time, everyone in the village knew what day had caused such an event. Everything was fine in Naruto's world.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.